Romania, a land of misty mountains, dense forests, and medieval villages, is home to some of the most chilling folklore in Europe. Many know of Count Dracula, a legend that has captivated imaginations worldwide. Fewer are familiar, even older, darker creature in Romanian mythology, the Strigoi. These restless spirits are said to rise from their graves, haunting villages and feeding on the life force of the living. Unlike the modern vampire, the Strigoi are steeped in history and superstition, born from deep-rooted fears of the undead. This is the story of the Strigoi.
In the heart of Romania, nestled in the shadows of ancient mountains, lay a quiet village. Here the people lived by simple routines and traditions. Stories of the Strigoi only a whispered legend. Until now.
Romania, a land of misty mountains, dense forests, and medieval villages, is home to some of the most chilling folklore in Europe. While many know of Count Dracula, a legend that has captivated imaginations worldwide, fewer are familiar with an even older, darker creature in Romanian mythology, the Strigoi. These restless spirits are said to rise from their graves, haunting villages and feeding on the life force of the living. Unlike the modern vampire, the Strigoi are steeped in history and superstition, born from deep-rooted fears of the undead. This is the story of the Strigoi.
Two hunters are better than one.
In the heart of Romania, nestled in the shadows of ancient mountains, lay a quiet village. Here the people lived by simple routines and traditions. Stories of the Strigoi only a whispered legend. Until now. Strange happenings had begun to stir. Shadows moving in the night, eerie wails carried by the wind. The village awakened, fearful and uncertain, as an ancient curse seemed to take hold once more. Fear gripped the village as one by one, people began falling ill, weakened and pale, their eyes sunken. No medicine could cure them, and the villagers whispered of a Strigoi. Only Elena, a woman brave beyond her years, dared to question the origin of the sickness, convinced that something unnatural was at play. Determined to save her people, Alina sought the guidance of Father Andre, an elderly priest known for his wisdom and knowledge of ancient rites. In the dim candlelight of the church, the priest recounted the ancient tales, revealing the lore of the Strigoi, spirits of the restless dead, bound to feed upon the living. The village gathered under the priest's guidance. Armed with garlic, blessed amulets, and wooden stakes, they prepared to confront the Strigoi. The shadows of the forest seeming to close in tight with each passing night. Elena and Father Andre stood resolute, knowing they faced more than a myth. They faced a horror that haunted their ancestors. Under the cover of a blood-red moon, the Strigoi emerged, an ethereal, terrifying figure with glowing eyes and a hollow, ghostly form. The villagers' weapons felt feeble against its unearthly presence. But with courage and an unbreakable resolve, Elena faced the creature. With her heartbeat steady, her aim true, with Father Andre's prayers ringing in the air. She drove the stake into the heart of the Strigoi, banishing it to the realm of shadows once more.
I know where you're hiding!
As dawn broke, the village breathed a sigh of relief, though they knew the tale would linger. Strigoi was gone, but as they returned to their lives, each villager held a new respect for the legends and reminder that some shadows never truly fade.
Strigoi in Romanian mythology are troubled, restless spirits that are said to have risen from the grave, haunting villages and feeding on the life force of their living. Unlike the modern vampire, the Strigoi are steeped in history and superstition, born from deep-rooted fears of the undead. They are attributed with the abilities to transform into an animal, become invisible, and to gain vitality from the blood of their victims. Bram Stoker's Dracula may be a modern interpretation of the Strigoi with their historic links with vampirism. The legend of the Strigoi has ancient roots, tracing back to the early Romanian folklore that flourished in rural villages. In these remote places, death and supernaturals intertwined seamlessly with everyday life. Villagers lived in close proximity to cemeteries, and many believed that spirits of the deceased didn't always rest peacefully. Some souls, they claimed, returned as Strigoi, evil beings that stalk the night, hungry for blood. The Strigoi were more than just spirits. These creatures represented fears of disease, plague, and unexplained death that could ravage a village overnight. Stories of restless spirits became explanations for these unknown terrors. Thus, the Strigoi evolved as both a symbol of bad omens and a very real threat to villagers. But what exactly is a Strigoi? In Romanian folklore, there are two types, the Strigoi viu and the Strigoi mort. The Strigoi viu are living individuals believed to possess dark powers.
Bitch, you're
These
dead.
people, often shunned by the community, were thought to practice black magic, travel at night, and turn into animals or invisible forms. Some tales even claim that they could drain the life force of others. The Strigoi mort, however, are the ones that inspired true fear. These are the undead, those who return from their graves to prey on the living. These Strigoi are depicted as pale, gaunt figures, wandering through the night, seeking to drain life from their victims. They have the power to shapeshift, enter homes undetected, and most horrifying, they target their own families. Villagers were highly attuned to the signs that a Strigoi might be near. Sick livestock, barren crops, and unexplained illnesses in the family were all believed to be caused by these vengeful spirits. Tales tell of how villagers would keep garlic, holy water, or blessed iron tools around their homes to ward off Strigoi. However, if a villager passed away under suspicious circumstances, particularly if they were an outcast or someone rumored to possess the evil eye, you were at risk of becoming a Strigoi wart or death. Family members took every precaution to prevent this from happening. Bodies would be buried with stakes through their hearts, garlic stuffed in their mouths, or sometimes even decapitated to prevent them from returning. While most Strigoi stories are rooted in myth, Romania has documented cases where villagers perform gruesome rituals on deceased bodies to prevent their return. In rural areas, Strigoi hunters would identify the graves of suspected Strigoi, dig up the body, and perform ancient rituals to ensure that it could never rise again. One such ritual involved removing the heart of the suspected Strigoi, driving a wooden stake through it, or even burning the body. Sometimes, villagers would exhume bodies multiple times if they believed the spirit was still restless. In some regions, it was customary to bury a Strigoi face down, so if they attempted to rise, they would dig themselves deeper into the earth. The legend of the Strigoi isn't merely an ancient story, but remains very real to some Romanians. In 2004, in the village of Marotinu de Sus, a family believed that the spirit of a recently deceased relative, Petre Toma, was haunting them. The family experienced nightmares, illnesses, and inexplicable misfortunes, all attributed to his restless soul.
What?
Convinced that he had become a Strigoi, family members took matters into their
Can't
own
wash
hands.
the blood away.
Cut out
Nothing
his
but
heart,
the blood
burned it,
of
and mixed the ashes with water as a potion to
Jesus.
protect themselves. The act was illegal, and those involved faced prosecution, but their actions revealed how deeply the belief in Strigoi still runs in parts of Romania. To these villagers, the ritual wasn't merely superstition. It was a desperate, necessary action to protect their family and community from an unseen evil. Today, the legend of the Strigoi endures in Romanian culture, both as a symbol of the past and as a lingering fear. Villages that once performed Strigoi rituals now celebrate Halloween-like festivals to keep the spirit of the tales alive, mixing horror with tradition. The Strigoi have also inspired international literature, movies,
Let's
and
hope no one
folklore.
notices me here.
In Romania, however, the myth remains sacred, a reminder of the mysteries of death, life, and what lies between. Modern Romanians may not believe in the Strigoi as their ancestors did, but the
all
legend
for you.
lingers,
I did it
the
all
power
for
of
you.
human tradition. As night falls over the Romanian countryside, the forests grow dark, and a sense of mystery returns. Perhaps the Strigoi are only stories, myths from a forgotten era. But to those who walk these ancient lands, the tales are more than just fiction. They are warnings from the past, reminders that some forces may never truly die, lying dormant, waiting in the shadows. The Strigoi may be legends, but as long as they live in memory, they continue to haunt Romania's villages, their stories whispered by firelight, warning each generation to respect the line between the living and the dead.
Thank you for watching. Please like,
Thank you,
share,
Jesus.
and subscribe.
Thank you, Jesus.
Today's episode has been made possible by Blinkist, an app designed for those who love to read but don't necessarily have an abundance of time. The first 100 people to visit Blinkist.com/mythology and fiction will get unlimited access for an entire week as well as a 25% discount. Stick around until the end to find out more about today's great offer. Vampires are everywhere. You pick up a book, vampire. You turn on the TV, vampire. You take a walk outside to get away from it all, and, well, creepy guy down the road who thinks he's a vampire. Wherever you are in the world, it's likely you've heard stories and legends of a vampire-like
Toes,
creature.
I see.
With such a rich history to explore, it's fair to ask, where did vampires come from? And why are we so obsessed with them? The word vampire conjures numerous images, from Nosferatu and Christopher Lee's Dracula to latex-wearing goths with guns. Whatever these are meant to be, and even glittering abominations we'd all like to pretend never existed. What we see in pop culture has certainly been influenced by the legends of old, and those are what we will focus on today. Before the 18th century, the term vampire never really existed. Much like the hysteria surrounding the witch trials, a series of odd disappearances, weird markings on corpses, and suspicious activities around graveyards and cemeteries led to accusations of vampirism. The majority of these reports came from the Balkans and Eastern Europe, with each country and region having its own iteration of what we would consider a vampire. Some of the oldest examples worldwide include figures such as Lamastu, Lilith, Lamia, and the Impusa, who are all female, but they aren't necessarily the undead creatures you'd associate with vampires. They're more demon or succubus-like. In Romania and other parts of Eastern Europe, you have tales of the Strigoi, spirits who had risen from the grave who could only survive through the blood of others. If needed, they could turn invisible and transform into animals. Not too different from today's vampires who can transform into bats and other creatures. Variations of the word Strigoi can be found in numerous other languages. In Greek and Latin, the word Strix once referred to nocturnal bird women who would feed off the blood and flesh of children. This was also the same in France. In Romanian, the term does literally mean one who has risen from the grave. It's likely these myths refer to something more akin to a blood parasite than the seductive vampires were used to. The earliest account of a suspected Strigoi came in 1656, in where we now consider modern-day Croatia. A villager began terrorizing his town. The man in question was Yuri Grando, and had died early.
Just gonna see him laying on the floor.
The legend states that Grando
nothing.
rose from the grave and would knock on doors around the village. Each house he visited would experience a death within the next few days. This continued for 16 years after Grando had originally died, until the villagers found a way to kill him. One night he appeared before his widowed wife, who said his corpse was gasping for air, but still maintained a sinister grin. The priest responsible for burying Grando 16 years earlier led a group of villagers on a quest to explain these disappearances. When they came across the vampire, one man tried to impale him in the heart with a wooden pole, but his skin was cut. The pole bounced off and splintered. The priest then took out his pot. "Behold Jesus Christ, vampire! Stop tormenting him!" he yelled, and the vampire fled. The next morning they dug up his coffin, only to find a perfectly preserved body inside, with a smile on his face. They tried stabbing him in the heart again, only this time with a wooden stake, but they couldn't penetrate the skin, and so the priest performed an exorcism. Another villager took a saw and decapitated the vampire, noting the skin around his neck offered much less resistance. The vampire screamed out in pain, blood poured from his mouth. With the vampire dead, the village could finally rest. After this story, there were several precautions taken on methods used by the Romanians and others to protect themselves from the Strigoi. There was a common belief that some men, particularly redheads, could return in the form of an animal and sneak into houses where they would feed off young women. In order to stop this, their coffins would be nailed shut, and in some cases they would even stake the corpse in the heart before they were buried. If they suspected someone had risen from their grave, they employed a host of methods to ensure the dead stayed dead. First, they would dig up the body. Its heart removed and cut into two. The nail would then be driven into its forehead, and a clove of garlic placed under its tongue. Lastly, the body would be moved to face downward, believing if the Strigoi ever woke, they would be sent straight down to the afterlife. There was the belief that one could become a Strigoi while still alive if certain conditions were missed. They also divided the Strigoi into three main categories: a witch, a living Strigoi, and a Strigoi who had risen from the dead.
Oh, yeah.
Whilst on the topic of Romanian history, you have perhaps their most famous historical figure, Vlad Dracul, or Vlad Tepes. We also can't forget his nickname, Vlad the Impaler, which refers to his favourite pastime of impaling his enemies on pikes and watching as they die slowly. Some argue that Vlad the Impaler was the biggest influence for Bram Stoker's Dracula, whilst others don't believe this is true. It is interesting, however, to see the similarities in terms of name, location, and bloodline. Some other undead European creatures include the Nordic Draugr, which can be found protecting tombs, the Balkan Dampier, which is born from the union of a male vampire and a human female, and the Albanian Nugget, which is your typical gruesome, can't stand sunlight, but enjoys flying around and seducing people into the darkness like a vampire. In Australia, according to Aboriginal myth, there existed a creature called the Yarra, a small, red, frog-like man who hid in trees. The Yarra has an extremely large head, with suckers on the end of its hands and feet. It also prefers to do most of its hunting during the day. When unsuspecting travellers decided to rest under its tree, it would jump down and drain the victim of their blood before swallowing them whole. If that wasn't weird enough, it then takes a nap and regurgitates the victim. When the person wakes, their skin has a noticeably red tint, and they are smaller than before. This process is repeated until they become a Yaramaya. In Western Africa, you can find legends of a creature with iron teeth, long red hair, and hooks for feet. It often bursts from hangs from trees and attacks its victim from above, piercing their neck with its hooks and draining their blood. In the Philippines, you have the Manamanga, a hideous creature that is capable of detaching its torso from the rest of its body and sprouting bat-like wings. Much like Lamassu, the Manamanga likes to prey on pregnant women, using its elongated tongue to suck out the hearts of fetuses. Luckily, it does have an aversion to salt, garlic, and holy water. When it separates from its lower half is when the creature is most vulnerable. Rubbing fresh garlic, salt, or ash onto its lower half is thought to be lethal. The upper half then cannot rejoin the lower half, and if it fails to do so by sunrise, the creature will perish. In Malaysia, you have the Penanggalan, a ghostly spirit who floats through the air with her entrails hanging beneath her. Where the Penanggalan differs from the Manamanga is the fact that they are living beings, a mortal woman who practices black magic, performing a ritual with fat or bark of vinegar, allowing them to take this ghostly form during the night.
You better get over here.
To their regular body.
You better get over here.
In China, you have the Yangshi, animated corpses whose joints are so stiff they hop around, looking for victims to kill so they can absorb their life force. Like traditional vampires, they prefer to rest in dark places during the day. As there are so many different stories of creatures around the world, defining a vampire can get confusing, but the one recurring trait you will see is the need to consume the life force of other living creatures in order to sustain themselves. The other traits vary wildly depending on location, but in a fictional context they have been somewhat streamlined. There are certain things we've come to expect, such as vampires fearing sunlight and having fangs they use to feed. An aversion to crucifixes, garlic and silver is also very common, along with having no reflection, not being able to stand on consecrated ground that cross running water or enter someone's home without being invited in the first. In terms of what makes a vampire special, they are fast, strong,
a lot of women have to be
killed in a regular term. They can also fly and compel humans and animals to serve them. So I guess we come back to the questions we asked in the beginning. Why are we obsessed with stories of vampires? And why did we see this change from repulsive undead monster to handsome or seductive charmer?
Okay,
I think it comes down to our fascination or
See
fear
that,
of
fellas?
mortality. Vampires essentially cheat death, or at least they give them a second life. Granted, it can also be seen as a curse. As for why vampires became more
Oh!
seductive or romantic roles,
Shit!
17th century fiction certainly contributed to this. John William Polidori's The Vampire, written in 1819, is considered by many as the start of vampire romance in the fantasy genre.
Almost left you
Vampires slowly
out.
began to assume the role of
Almost
the
forgot
Antichrist
about you.
before
You probably
Bram
a
Stoker
quest.
published his Dracula in 1897, the quintessential Gothic horror,
I know it.
featuring the most famous vampire of all. After this, we have a wave of fiction and movies where vampires are very much the anti-hero or the charismatic villain. This only further adds to the vampire appeal. They can be these terrifying monsters who want nothing more than to satisfy their thirst, or they can have human qualities, a tortured soul seeking redemption. Vampires are also loners most of the time, which is something people can relate
Hold on, I
to,
don't
as
know.
feeling alienated, misunderstood,
Let's let
or
him stay
like
over
we
there.
don't belong. It's something most of us experience at some point in our life,
I'll be back,
especially when we're
sweetie.
younger,
I'll be back.
which may explain why vampires are so popular in young adult fiction. Maybe you have a different take, or maybe you just like to share your favorite vampire book or movie. As I mentioned earlier, today's video has been sponsored by Blinkist. If you're like me and you enjoy learning new things, but struggle to find the time and motivation to commit to a series of long books, then this is definitely the app for you. Blinkist takes thousands of non-fiction books and condenses the key information into
Yeah,
15-minute
whatever. I
segments
got you.
that you can read or listen to in your own time. It's extremely easy to access on your phone, which means you can continue
See the
learning while
one.
doing your
I got
laundry
away.
and other mundane
Where you get
activities.
on?
They have over 12 million active
I
users,
see y'all
as well as an
somewhere.
extensive library of over
Thing over there,
3,400
guardian,
books spanning
king.
across numerous genres, from finance,
Still a leader.
self-help and politics, to history, nature, and science. There is something for everyone. I've personally just finished listening to The Rise and Fall of Dinosaurs, because dinosaurs are awesome. But some of you may prefer Mythology by Edith Hamilton, which is a great starting point for anyone interested in Greek and Roman mythology. The first 100 people who go to blinkist.com/mythology and fiction will receive unlimited access for an entire week, as well as an additional 25% discount if you decide you want a full membership.
Yeah,
The 7-day trial is completely
Ain't nobody
free,
coming
or
for you,
can
man.
cancel at any time during those 7 days if you decide it's not for you. But if you enjoy reading, it certainly will be. As always, I've been your host, Mythology and Fiction Explained.
Move, baby. Stuff that's right. Thank you getting away, but you're not.
I know where you are, you coward! Bernard's Run, Henry! That's
We go. Disgusting.
You're up. Here comes the sun. Let us...
Watch where you're going!
I will end. I should try to stay out of sight. Coming from over there. I'm on fire! Put it out! Is this another level? If you I'm that.
No one has to die here. What would it take to make you walk away?
I might be able to help.
I must abandon my life here completely to avoid death. Fine, if that's what it takes.
Now, my feet.
Made it in. Look at that shit.
You won't be my dear friend.
That'll do.
I don't want to be spotted here.
I've got the upper.
Let's get it.
Come on.
That's right. Come on. Guys, wait, let's get it.
I should stay hidden if I don't want to fight. Need something?
There is a symposium we are planning.
I'm not. What? I... A woman told me you did.
Ah,
Gary, statesman. I don't suppose you could use a mercenary's help today?
With the death in leadership, a rival of mine in the Yerusia is maneuvering for power through his brother, a commander known for his brutality.
You're making enemies of the soldiers and the politicians.
Yes, but I am making friends with mercenaries.
You need me to deal with him.
I beg you.
It won't be easy. You can leave. Anything,
There's a merchant ship near the port with a crate of gold and silver ingots, Mistios.
You sound like you're plotting something.
Someone got there before me. Cursed pirates tried to take it.
You want me to destroy
All they boat.
Find another.
I'll be here if you reconsider.
I'm a mercenary. If I was hired to find you, you know what comes next.
Come now, Miss Dios. Surely there's something I can do to change your mind.
Maybe you could disappear another way, like aboard my ship.
You're asking me to shirk my duty to do grunt work aboard your ship? Not a chance.
Your life is over! They didn't deserve to die! Now to collect the prize.
We have the best prizes around. Good day to you. Thank you. Later.
Done. Goodbye then.
New morning. I should watch my step around here. Happy to have...